Hello, wrestling fans, and yes, welcome back to all my fellow remarks out there. If there was ever a week for some strong, spicy remarks about the world of wrestling, this was it. My brain is still scrambled from the weekend, but I say that with love because we're officially wading through the glorious, chaotic aftermath of SummerSlam. If you're listening, welcome to Wrestle Remarks. I'm Chris. Unfortunately, Pat couldn't be in this week. Today is Thursday, August 7th, 2025, and we will be diving in to the new supergroup Running Raw, plus the ghost of CM Punk's past rears its head once again. Let's get into it. Alright, first up, some massive landscape shifting news in the world of WWE. The company has officially found a new US home for its premium live events, and it's a big one. Starting in 2026, WrestleMania and all other PLEs are moving to ESPN. That's right, the worldwide leader in sports is now in business with the king of sports entertainment. According to CNBC, this is a 5-year deal valued at $325 million per year. That is an enormous leap from the previous Peacock deal, which came at around $180 million annually. That's not just an upgrade, that's a full-blown level up right there. So yes, fans will have to pony up for ESPN's new $30 a month streaming service, but there's no denying it gives WWE some serious prestige. Between this and Raw on Netflix, the media landscape for WWE is looking more loaded than ever. SmackDown is still holding steady on the USA Network and Peacock for now, but TKO execs are doing victory laps over this. Mark Shapiro called it our quote-unquote destiny, and Nick Khan dubbed it a quote-unquote pivotal moment. And with money like this coming in, it's really hard to disagree. Now let's stick with WWE media domination for a second, because WWE's Unreal, the new behind-the-scenes docuseries on Netflix, is an immediate smash hit. In just its first week, it cracked the global top 10 for all shows on Netflix. That's huge. It clocked in about 2.3 million views and nearly 11 million hours viewed, landing on the top 10 in 8 countries, including the US, UK, and Australia. No surprise there though, because fans have been begging for an unfiltered look behind the curtain, and Unreal delivers. It's a little smart fan candy, if you will. Will it stay in the top 10 though? I would say it might be too early to say, but between us, I bet money a second season is on the way. In fact, word is the director was spotted shooting during the Seth Rollins SummerSlam cash-in. So yeah, I'd say we're getting a season 2. Moving on to our night of SummerSlam, since we started getting into that with Seth Rollins cash-in, it was a night of main event betrayals, new champions, musicians going through tables, and a cash-in that flipped the whole night upside down. Let's break it down. The Bloodline kicked off night 1, Jey Uso and Roman Reigns reuniting like it's 2021 all over again to face the Braun and Braun connection in Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. This was a hoss fight, no doubt about it. Jey flew all over the place, as Jey does, and Roman, well, he pulled out his own little dive with the Tope Con Hero. Now, Paul Heyman looked like he saw a ghost when Roman was dominating in that ring. And then we got to the finish. Roman takes a spear that was meant for Jey. Jey hits the Uso splash and gets the win. For one night at least, everything's alright in the Bloodline. Next up, we have Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss versus Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez for the women's tag titles. Now, Charlotte did her thing, but this was Alexa's night. Clean Sister Abigail 1, 2, 3, and a rare feel-good ending. No betrayal? Not yet. Anyway, we'll have to see what comes of these acquaintances. Then came a match with some implications, and we forgot to bring up this one. I gotta say, it was disappointing. I was disappointed in myself for not bringing it up, but I'm kind of glad we didn't after seeing what happened. You know, the loser had to admit the other one was right. It was Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross. Scarlett played the factor, trying to give Sami the pipe in between the match, but of course he stayed true, tossed it, and beat Kross clean. I would have much rather had Kross go over. I don't know what they're doing over there, but we'll have to wait and see. And a lot of people thought this could be Kross's last hurrah, because Fightful Select was reporting that Scarlett and Kross's contracts were up this weekend with no renewal talks. But it just broke this morning that they have offered him a contract now. There is no word on what said contract is like, how long it is, but as things keep progressing, we'll keep you updated. Next, we had Jade Cargill versus Tiffany Stratton for the women's title. Jade came in like a wrecking ball, but Tiffy held strong. A brutal counter into an avalanche victory roll and a prettiest moonsault ever sealed the victory. Tiffy time continues to roll on. And then, this match had no business being this fun. Now, Jelly Roll and Randy Orton took on Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul. Jelly Roll was the crowd's MVP. They were chanting his name like it was nobody's business. Jelly Roll. Anyways, Jelly Roll took a splash through the announce table from Logan Paul, which had a beautiful camera shot with those Ray-Bans that Logan Paul put on before he jumped off the ring. If you haven't seen it, go find it. It looks great. But anyway, he ended up out of the match for quite some time, and he pulled what I would like to call the Mick Foley. Like when he came back in the ring from falling through the announce table, being thrown off of the Hell in a Cell. I don't know. That's how I imagined it in my head, because it was kind of the same mannerisms that Foley did when he pulled away and went back to the match. So I wonder, knowing that Jelly Roll is a fan, I wonder if he planned this out. And he might have. But he does go back to the ring, but eventually Logan Paul stole the win. And what a performance from Jelly Roll. Man has some charisma. Amazing way he got into shape. I think he lost over 200 pounds or something like that just for this match. And hopefully he sticks to it, man. Great on him. Then came the war. CM Punk versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. It was a chop fest. Punk's chest looked like hamburger. Gunther pulled out everything. Submissions, splash, power bombs, but Punk kept getting up. Finally, 2 go to sleeps later, Punk wins. He's crying, the crowd is losing it, and then Seth Rollins comes out on crutches with Heyman holding a briefcase, but it was a total fake out. Rollins throws the crutches, ditches the leg brace, and blindsides Punk. He hits him with the stomp, cashes in, 1, 2, 3, and just like that, Rollins steals another title. He celebrates with Paul Heyman, Bronson Reed, and Braun Breaker. A dominant power alliance is here, and CM Punk's dream becomes a nightmare. Night 2 kicked off with a bang. Naomi versus Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky for the women's World Heavyweight title. Naomi played it smart, let Rhea and Io destroy each other, then slid in when it mattered most. Rhea hit an avalanche riptide. It was over, but Naomi came in and rolled her up for the win. Greasy, but brilliant. Then came the 6-man tag TLC match. Absolute demolition derby. Candice LeRae's crashing through that ladder on the outside was a terrifying bump. But the real story, the Wyatt 6. Uncle Howdy Toss DIY the match and cleared the way for Joe Gacy to retain. That wasn't just a win. That was a clear warning that the Wyatt 6 is going to run rampant on the tag division. Now Becky versus Lyra followed. No DQ in this match. Becky went full psycho heel, it seemed. She had zip ties and all. Unfortunately, it didn't land because the zip ties came undone and Lyra acted like they were still on there. And then they just kept going and kept going and kept going. It was a match that seemed to drag. Yeah, there were cool spots, but it dragged too much in between them. Lyra should have just called an audible and got out of the zip ties instead of putting her hands in it just because she wanted to do a moonsault with zip ties on or whatever the hell. But what do I know? Anyways, Bayley came down with the chain and swung on Becky but missed and nailed Lyra. Becky wins. And just like that, the Bayley-Lyra tension just hit a boiling point. Now it's time for a little quick fire as we get into two of the title matches. The US title in the steel cage with Solo and Jacob Fatu. Of course, like we said, the MFTs played a part. Tala Tonga handcuffed Jacob Fatu to the cage, but Fatu was able to get loose. They had a little fire up there. MFTs came back into the picture. He moonsaulted off the top of the cage post-match. I wish we would have saw it in the beginning of the match, like I predicted, to where they pulled Solo out. It would have looked a lot better. But he lost the match, but won the crowd. So it was great. Now Dirty Dom versus AJ Styles was a full-on Eddie Guerrero tribute. Chair spots, ref bumps, and Dom slipping out of his boot to nail AJ with it. Genius level lie, cheating, and steal. Now, main event saw Cody Rhodes versus John Cena. False finishes galore, of course. A triple crossroads, Cena kicks out, avalanche AA, Cody kicks out, final crossroads, Cody wins. New undisputed champion. Cena raises his arm. The torch seems to be passed, but then Brock Lesnar comes out, storms to the ring, and obliterates Cena. Stares down Cody from the ring and leaves. No words, just smoke and warning signs. The Beast is back. Now, let's talk real world for a moment. As shocking as Brock Lesnar's return was from a storyline perspective, the real shock is that he's back at all. Considering he was named in the Janelle Grant lawsuit against Vince McMahon and WWE execs, a lot of people didn't expect this. That scandal led to Vince McMahon's final downfall, and many assumed Lesnar was done in WWE for good. So his return now raises a lot of questions. Who authorized it? Why now? WWE is going to have to address it eventually, because it's casting a shadow over what was. Otherwise, it was a massive SummerSlam moment. Now, at the end of the show, Triple H did say that John Cena wanted to face Brock in his final hurrah. So, looks like some of the blame is being pointed off on Cena. I heard that the legal team cleared it, not necessarily cleared it in the sense that he's cleared of what he's being accused of, but cleared him to come back. Now let's get into our little Raw recap. The Raw after SummerSlam was, of course, pure chaos. And it started with Seth Rollins, the world champ, again flanked by Heyman, Bronson Reed, and Braun Breaker. Rollins declared this era his vision. LA Knight came out to challenge him. Rollins said no, but Adam Pearce made it official instead. Title match main event. Goons banned from ringside. Now meanwhile, Becky had her own issues. Nikki Bella confronted her and called her a quote-unquote disappointment, but if anything was disappointing here was that damn promo, I'll tell you what. And I know y'all know what I'm talking about. So Becky, of course, smacked her with the title and left. Later, she brushes off Natalya too, so we'll have to see what happens there. It almost seems like they might go to a Becky, Natalya, and Nikki triple threat. We'll have to wait and see. Also on Raw, Pinto Oscuro was back, or at least it seemed with that big ass hat that Xavier Woods had when Pinto put it on. He did a whole fatality and everything, almost sliced the dude's head off throwing that hat. Anyway, he beat Grayson Waller and then attacked New Day post-match, and it seemed like his full dark side was activated with that hat once he put it on. Of course, the Judgment Day is still in some sort of shambles, given that the women lost the title. So there's still more to go down there. I'm assuming once Liv comes back, we might see a complete disbandment of the Judgment Day. We'll have to wait and see. And then Charlotte and Alexa retain their titles once again. AJ is obviously still hunting Dirty Dom. The main event saw Seth Rollins versus LA Knight. It was a great match, but no clean finish. CM Punk interfered and attacked Rollins. Breaker and Reed ran down, and then Roman Reigns' music hits. Huge pop. He comes to confront the new supergroup, but the numbers game was too much. He eats a stomp, and the Vision strikes again. Raw ends with Roman laid out. Finally, over on NXT, it was just as wild. Trick Williams, Oba Femi, Javon Evans, and surprise guest Moose all argued over the top title. Then Dark State jumped everyone later. Those four actually teamed up to clear the ring, setting up an 8-man tag for next week. Other highlights, we saw Dark State take out the NXT tag champs. Nia and Lash brawled out everywhere because Lash has been talking about how she eliminated Nia at Women's Evolution, and Nia ain't having that. None of that here. Now Jordan Grace is still hunting down Blake Monroe with this little, looking like a little Terminator going after her. Ethan Page revealed his new alignment in what was probably my favorite part, revealing that Chelsea Green and the Secret Harvest would be by his side. NXT is firing on all cylinders, and the road to Heat Wave is absolute chaos, and I'm here for all of it. Now, that is gonna do it for this week's solo ride through Wrestle Remarks. As always, stay tuned, stay rowdy, and keep those remarks coming. I'm Chris. I'll see you next week. And hopefully, Pat will be back in the booth. Right here on Wrestle Remarks.